the match is getting lit tonight, and the ripple effect is going to be crazy. Maria Taylor is with Zion Williamson right now.
All right, Zion, all eyes were on you several times. You looked a little nervous while you were sitting down. How do you feel right now?
Still nervous. I don't know why. I'm just still nervous. Maybe because, yeah, like you said, all eyes were on me. And I think it's a lot to take in because I don't know where I'm going to be.
Well, when you saw New Orleans got the #1 pick, you didn't think for a second, oh, I could be in New Orleans?
It's definitely a possibility, but, I mean, it's not sure until it actually happens.
Have you ever been before?
I've never been.
Let's talk.
That reaction from Zion Williamson pretty much says it all, as the New Orleans Pelicans shocked the NBA world and winning the NBA draft lottery. That's going to be a main topic we're going to get into, along with a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to get into here later on. A lot of weird situations coming out of the NFL, so we have Kevin coming on a little later to go over a lot of those topics. Patrick Peterson getting suspended, the Jets for some reason firing their GM out of nowhere, so we're going to get him on a little later. We have James coming on in the back end of the show as well. We're going to talk a lot of NBA news, a lot of NBA draft lottery stuff, and just kind of analyzing the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals that we're getting through right now. Right now, we're going to get started with the heated questions, though. That's pretty much that segment that we've been having to open up the show here since we started the new format a few weeks ago. We only got a couple questions submitted this week, so I'm just going to dive into a couple of them. The main one pretty much being, what were our reactions when the Pelicans won the NBA draft lottery? So, again, I'm going to want to dive into this a little in more depth a little later on, but I was just blown away. I mean, there was those three main teams, the Cavs, Suns, and Knicks, that all had about, I think, 15% chance of winning the draft. So a lot of people just thinking it was going to be one of those three kind of getting there. Obviously, the NBA really wanting the Knicks to get that pick. Didn't end up happening, pretty much solidifying that the NBA draft lottery is not rigged, like I pretty much believed it's been ever since it's been a thing. When they first showed those top 4 picks and I saw the Lakers somehow were getting a top 4 pick, I was completely ready to just go boycott the NBA whatsoever, because if the Lakers somehow got that first pick and Zion was going to be going to LA with LeBron, that just completely proves that the NBA is rigged and like they can do whatever the heck they want. That obviously wasn't the case. Lakers ended up getting the 4th pick. Pelicans ended up winning it. They had a 6% chance, so it's not like they were a just complete shock. They had a pretty decent shot of getting it, but really not what anybody really wanted or expected. And we're going to dive into even if Zion really wants to play there in a little bit, but that's a whole nother topic. But obviously really shocking news, and it's really going to be a huge shakeup come the actual draft here in a few months, and just the NBA to the NBA's future in general. Other main question we got here was who's going to win the Champions League, and that's obviously more towards soccer. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm really not a huge soccer fan. I feel like a lot of soccer fans in the United States, a lot of those fans have played soccer in some way, shape, or form, have a passion for the sport. And if I'm being honest, soccer is really the one main sport that I really never got into as a kid. Never really played it when I was growing up or anything, so I really haven't followed soccer too much. But once I saw the question was submitted, I did a little bit of research, and I'm just going to go with Liverpool. I mean, between the two in the Champions League final, they're pretty much the clear-cut favorite. They've been playing really well here down the stretch, so Liverpool would be my pick for that. Again, if you guys do want to see more soccer content, we can definitely make that work. But yeah, as for me being the main guy on the podcast, I don't know a huge ordeal about soccer, but if you guys want to get more content, we can definitely make that happen for you guys. But yeah, after doing a little research, I would definitely say Liverpool's going to be my pick for that. Next up here, so that's it for the heated questions. Again, thank you for those who did submit your questions. And again, we do this every single week, so if you guys want to hear your topics or your thoughts answered on the podcast, addressed on the podcast, just feel free to DM us or submit those. We have a couple different ways we go about getting some responses from you guys throughout the week. The next segment we're going to get into is just talking about our previous articles. So once again, I'm not going to be repeating myself too much after this week, but again, we have our website, www.heated-sports.com. And now that we're all pretty much done with school for the summer, we're actually going to be having 4 weekly articles coming out. So we have articles coming out Monday and Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and then Saturday and Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. is going to be some of the new time slots for articles. So we have Zach, Kevin, Pete, and Harrison all writing weekly articles for us, so we can't thank them enough for getting that content out for us on our website, and then again we can address on the podcast as well. So I'm just gonna get into a couple of them here. Zach put out an article last week talking about Bryce Harper struggling and pretty much just should Philly fans be worried that they spent all this money breaking the bank on this guy and he really isn't delivering so far in the season? And I mean, the title is a little bit more of like a clickbait title. I really don't think anybody's too worried yet. We're really 2.5 months into the season. Baseball is a very interesting sport where there's significant slumps that even like superstars like Bryce Harper are going to get into at times. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little bit concerned. I mean, looking at his numbers right now, he's batting .230, 8 home runs, and has 28 RBIs. None of those numbers are really eye-popping. Bryce Harper really hasn't hit for average too much in the last like 2-3 years, but he's gotten basically like a pass for that because of his power numbers. His home run numbers have always been up. His RBIs are obviously going to follow with that as well. But in this case, everything's really down right now. Just to give you a comparison, Christian Yelich is leading the league in home runs with 18, and Josh Bell, the first baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates, is leading the league in RBIs with 43. I really don't think anybody expects Bryce Harper to be leading the league in every single category. I mean, that's pretty much just absurd to expect that out of anybody. But, I mean, just putting that in comparison, his numbers just are not really up to where they should be, at least for how much that they paid him. $330 million. I need some improvement. I need to see something going into the stretch of the season where everything's kind of getting into full swing now. The All-Star breaks in a couple months. I really need to see some improvement out of Bryce Harper, and I think the rest of the Philly fans can agree with me there. Another article we had was Kevin. Kevin is pretty specific to the NFL and a lot of NFL football news. He put out an article talking about Patrick Peterson, Arizona Cardinals cornerback, Pro Bowl cornerback, getting suspended for the first 6 games of the season due to the PED use substance abuse policy that the NFL has. Really big blow to the Cardinals. Again, Kevin's going to be on here in a few minutes, so I'm not going to get in too much detail until we get him on and get his thoughts on it, but be sure to check that out if you want the details on his suspension. Harrison as well. Again, Harrison, similar to Kevin, Harrison's very specific to basketball, so NBA, college basketball, he's giving us a lot of articles there. Right now we're in the heart of the NBA playoffs with the conference finals getting ready to wrap up here this week, so 4 teams left. He's doing a lot of analysis on those. This past article, he made his predictions because he put the article out right before this round started. So he made his picks. I think he had Raptors and Warriors winning the series, but we'll have to wait and see. The Raptors are down 0-2 right now to the Bucks, so we'll have to see if they can make a turnaround now that they're in Toronto. And again, we added Pete to the mix as well, writing articles for us. So Pete's another guy that's been with our team from the get-go. He really hasn't been on the podcast yet just due to his class scheduling and everything, but he'll definitely be on here throughout the next couple weeks now that we're here for the summer and everything. No more classes to get in the way. Pete's also been writing articles for us just very sporadically, but now he's going to be in that weekly mix again now that we kind of have some more free time. So Pete actually put an article out on Sunday kind of highlighting a lot of the NBA draft lottery news, just some of the shocking picks, some of the more expected picks, with the Knicks still being in the top 4 but really only landing at number 3, which if you think about it, this draft is really a 3-man draft. You have RJ Barrett, who's probably going to go to the Knicks at 3. You have John Morant. And you have obviously Zion Williamson, who's going to go first overall. So, I mean, I think getting one of those top 3 picks, the Knicks are still going to be in good shape. I'm going to talk about my actual theory on maybe a different scenario that the Knicks will improve, but I think Knicks fans will like my theory, but I'll get into that a little later once James is on the show. So I mean, Pete also highlights on Vogel getting hired by the Lakers. So the Lakers finally find their head coach, also finding an assistant coach who people are rumoring is going to take over the Lakers job. So that's going to be a lot of more NBA news that Pete's going to touch on. But Pete and Zach are our 2 writers. They're going to keep a variety. So they're not more pertained to one sport like Harrison and Kevin, but those 2 are going to just kind of keep up with a lot of like the more general, more just like up-to-date breaking news throughout the sports world. So they're going to keep a variety of content coming your way as well. So that's my take on a lot of the recent articles that we have, along with answering some of those heated questions. So again, guys, we're going to get Kevin and James on the show here one by one. Again, feel free to submit any DMs or any comments our way regarding stuff you want to hear on the show, whether it's just general sports topics or if you have any specific questions. So we're going to get Kevin on the show here now. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have Mr. Kevin Eagleson into the studio with us. Going to talk some more NFL news, NFL stuff that's going on. It's been a crazy offseason. I mean, normally in the offseason, things are supposed to slow down, but there's still a lot of crazy stuff that's been coming up here in the last week or so. So again, I already kind of touched on your article that you put out talking about Patrick Peterson's suspension, but first off, I mean, 6-game suspension, PED use, the standard stuff. I mean, you see it a lot in the NFL nowadays, but what was your reaction when you saw that it was Patrick Peterson that got tied down with this stuff?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised, honestly. Patrick Peterson, he seems, I don't know, just like a really humble guy. I never thought that it would be coming from him, but I was kind of sad about it too, because Cardinals are one of my teams that I'm rooting for this season, and it's definitely a huge blow to lose their best defensive player, especially what they're going through right now. Would have really benefited them to have at least like one piece that is kind of continuous through.
Just like a solidified piece that's like consistently in the Pro Bowl, like a big, like he's still young, but like can definitely be a leader for the new defense and everything.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, like I like that you touched on it already, like in the article, but they took Byron Murphy in the second round, like early, like was it the first overall pick in the second round? And he was one of the top corners in the draft, and like I like him like fitting in Arizona, but I liked him as a number 2 corner,
Definitely.
like a solid talent that can learn under one of the greats in like the regular season, like playing games across from Patrick Peterson. But now because of this, he's gonna have to step up, and he's pretty much gonna be the guy that's in there. He's gonna be he's the number 1 corner thrown in, probably gonna be covering the like team's top wide receiver every single week now, and that's tough for a rookie corner to do. So I mean, that's just a whole nother like impact that this suspension's gonna have on him now.
Yeah, definitely. I brought that up in the article. I think he'll manage. He's definitely going to be a capable cornerback, but it's nothing like having your first season across from Patrick Peterson, or most of the games across from Patrick Peterson. It's not the same, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to go into that position right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, just overall, like, this team is just in a huge, like, rebuild mode. And they've rebuilt, I'll say. I mean, obviously we haven't seen this team, like, on the field, like, playing games yet. But they've rebuilt a lot of their main pieces that they wanted to rebuild in the head coach and the quarterback, and adding a lot of pieces on defense as well. So, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. I mean, I didn't have, like, huge hopes for this team in the first year that they're kind of putting the pieces together. But I mean, I definitely thought this team would be able to win some games, assuming Kyler Murray kind of pans out and plays what people are expecting him to, how the people are expecting him to play. But I mean, this is tough on the defense, and I mean, yeah, like I'm not gonna say the defense is like solid, but I mean, it's definitely like an average, slightly above average defense. But taking that consistently, like every single year, Pro Bowl type talent, taking him out of the lineup for the first 6 games is going to be huge.
Yeah, it is. I thought that defense was going to be solid, but now it's kind of just up in the air, honestly. How it's going to all come together, because so many of the players are new. Jordan Hicks, Robert Alford, and Terrell Suggs. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I'll say adding a lot of new pieces, but I mean, I think they'll all help. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of this team is very new, and it's a lot of of young pieces that are being added to the team. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, like I said, I think the team can pan out and win some games this year. And Patrick Peterson comes back week 7. I think that was against the Giants. So, I mean, I think the Giants, that's a very winnable game for the Cardinals, especially if Patrick Peterson's back in the lineup.
He'll pick off Daniel Jones 3 times,
yeah,
calling it.
It could definitely happen. I mean, I really don't have much faith in Daniel Jones whatsoever. So, I'm curious to see how that whole situation in New York pans out. But for right now, I mean, hopefully for like the Cardinals, like ideal scenario, still be able to win a couple games. You don't I think you might have touched on that as well. Like you don't want your season to be over by the time Patrick Peterson comes back. Like, I mean, obviously worst case scenario 0-6, which I don't think would still happen, but try to win 2, 3, maybe 4 games if you're lucky in that 6-game stretch.
I think they need to win 3.
Yeah, and like be in like at least decent situation, getting your Pro Bowl corner to come back then in week 7. But I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, a crazy suspension. I consider Patrick Peterson like a superstar. I mean, not many people think of like
top 3
the defensive players as that, but I mean, he's definitely top 2, top 3 corner in the league easily, consistently in the Pro Bowl every year. Like he's a great talent and a really big blow for that team.
I didn't actually know until I was writing my article. This is the first game he's missing in his career.
First game.
Yeah, he's never missed a game before.
No injuries or anything. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that just shows how important that he probably is to that franchise and that organization.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's gonna be a tough adjustment for any team, but yeah, when you're trying to replace that type of a talent with like a very young defensive core that you have, it's gonna be a tough task.
Yeah.
Moving on a little bit, we're gonna get into the New York Jets actually, because there was some really shocking breaking news that came out this week that the Jets fired their general manager, completely out of nowhere. Just very weird firing. Mike McCagnon, I think I'm pronouncing that name right, was their former general manager. Went through the process of hiring the new head coach in Adam Gase, went through the entire offseason process, went through free agency, went through the NFL draft, and now they fire him, which I don't understand it necessarily. A lot of details are kind of coming out with the fact that like him and Adam Gase, the new head coach, really didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. The main thing being a lot of like their new free agent additions and just like the price tags that they put on them. The Jets getting Le'Veon Bell from my Steelers and getting C.J. Mosley from your Ravens, but apparently there was some arguments and some disagreements on like how much they should spend on those guys. So what do you make of this situation, dude? Like what was your reaction when you saw that?
I think right now it's a tough situation for the Jets. I think by the time the season starts, they'll most likely be over it. But it's like you said, it's weird that timing right after the draft, right after all the signings, then they go ahead and they fire their GM. And also something I think is kind of weird is how much power it's looking like they're giving to Adam Gase, their brand new coach.
Yeah, he's the interim general manager now.
Basically they chose him over their GM, and then they promoted him to the interim GM, and it just feels weird that they're giving him this much power right off the bat. That's my opinion on it.
It's just weird. I mean, I agree because like it's Adam Gase we're
talking
talking about, and like
I'm not a great coach.
I'm not going to knock him too much because, I mean, the situation that he had in Miami was not ideal, especially with the injuries to Ryan Tannehill, who, I mean, even if he is healthy, not the greatest quarterback to have your franchise around. But, so, I mean, I'll give him a second shot here with the Jets, but, I mean, it's not, like, this isn't like a household name, like a great, like, NFL football coach, at least not right now. So why are you giving this guy just coming into your organization all this power, firing the GM essentially because your new head coach doesn't like him or doesn't see eye to eye with him? So yeah, we'll get rid of the general manager but keep Adam Gase. I really don't understand it too much. I mean, we'll have to wait and see if they made the right decision. We'll see how Adam Gase does with this new team. A lot of young and promising pieces are in place now with the Jets, especially after free agency. Getting Le'Veon Bell, getting C.J. Mosley, like I mentioned, those are two huge free agent additions that they have on the offensive and defensive side now. But again, yeah, very, very weird situation. I mean, especially after the general manager is with you through all those offseason processes, why not at least just wait the season out just to see if it works out? And if it works, then I'm sure Adam Gase and the McCagnon could have like figured it out and tried to make things work. But yeah, instead they fired him well before the season even gets underway. So it's just very weird. And yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, Gase is now the interim general manager until they find a new one. No really indications right now on when that's gonna, like, when they're actually gonna like start their replacement search. I'm sure a search has probably already begun, but there's no like really big names or like promising names that are kind of coming out to light right now. So we'll kind of have to wait and see when and if that replacement will come.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of it seems like it's still up in the air. One of those things being what they're going to do or if they make any decisions with the players that they sign. I know there's been rumors. They are just rumors that Le'Veon Bell could be traded to another team before the season starts. I personally don't think he will. But that being said, I think it would be important too because Adam Gase pretty much came out and said that he didn't really believe in Le'Veon Bell. He didn't believe in his price tag. So I think when Le'Veon's not traded, Gase needs to come back out and he needs to kind of solidify his relationship with his best player. He needs
patch things up.
He needs to patch things up before the season starts, which I do think will happen. I think they'll be ready to go by the time week 1 rolls around. But right now, it's kind of a mess.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, there's plenty of time until the season gets underway to start fixing that mess. I just love it. I mean, the irony is there that they didn't like, or at least Adam Gase didn't like Le'Veon's like price tag that they signed him for, and that's still less than what Pittsburgh offered him last year. And he wanted to hold out for more money, this, that, and the other, and he ended up taking less money to sign with the Jets. And now we're hearing that the new Jets head coach didn't even want to pay him that amount of money. So it just kind of goes to show. I mean, Le'Veon's situation maybe didn't work out in his favor too much, but he gets the new team, he gets the new destination, so he still obviously got paid very well for a running back. So maybe holding out for that the whole season last year wasn't the best move, but either way, hopefully his situation and the situation overall with the Jets now with their new revamped team can start to work itself out. One other NFL topic I want to touch on a little bit is just Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's pretty much demanding a new extension or a new contract here. A lot of people are saying that he's demanding pretty top-tier quarterback money, and he wants to be paid for what he feels that he's worth. I really don't think he's worth all that. People are talking about like he's asking for $30 million a year or something like that, and that's That's like tier 1, like top quarterback money. So I mean, what do you think of Dak Prescott asking for that type of extension with the Cowboys?
I really think he's at best an average quarterback.
Yeah.
I haven't met anyone that really disagrees with that, including all the Cowboys fans that I know. Cowboys fans don't really like him, at least the ones I know.
My dad's a diehard Cowboys fan, and he cannot stand Dak Prescott.
They don't think he's good.
No, he literally like cringes whenever he throws the ball downfield, especially in the playoffs last year. It just was not good.
He better prove it this year. That being said, I think the Cowboys are going to give him close to what he asked for, just because I think that's how it's going to work out. They believe in him. They think he's their franchise guy, and they don't really have many other options at this point. So I think he is going to get paid, and a lot of it just depends on how he performs this year. Yeah, we'll see. So the contract extension wouldn't come till the end of this year, right?
I mean, he could sign an extension before the season, but like this is his last year, I'm pretty sure, on his contract. So he like the situation could wait until next offseason, but it sounds like he wants an extension now before this season. If he gets it, it's a whole nother situation, obviously. But I mean, a lot of people are giving him more. I'm not even going to say reasonable, but reasonable for this situation, 26 to 28 million, which I don't even know if I think Dak would be worth that amount of money either. But
he'll get it.
He'll get it regardless. I think Jerry Jones believes in him, and that's really the only opinion that you need if you're Dak Prescott. If Jerry Jones believes in you, you're going to get paid, and you're going to be with the franchise for the long haul. So obviously he's won games, he's won playoff games here and there. I definitely don't think he's a quarterback to get the team over the hump and to actually make a playoff run, like more than like a game or two. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can ramble off 10, 12, 15 names that I would rather have in starting quarterbacks over Dak Prescott. So, I mean, the fact that he's asking and probably going to receive this type of money is going to be pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we'll have to kind of see how that pans out. That division in general is going to be pretty interesting. I mean, with the Philly and Dallas both making the playoffs last year, and then you have the new look Giants and Redskins coming this year. I don't think those two are going to be like playoff contenders by any means, but I think that division is going to be an interesting one to watch with all of the on the field and off the field stuff that's going on. So we'll have to kind of wait and see there. But yeah, guys, we're gonna transition here again. Kev, thanks for coming on here again this week. We're gonna transition. We're gonna get James Duncan on the podcast here, another member of our Heated Sports team. You guys have seen him around a lot, so we're gonna get him on, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back from that last break. We have James Duncan in the studio with us, Heated Sports' very own.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, and we're going to get right into it. So we're going to talk a lot of NBA, and we're going to talk about Zion first, like I kind of teased in the beginning. So I'm going to give you my theory first.
Okay,
right?
yeah, because I'm interested, because this is I have two theories, but I want to see if at least one of them match up.
All right, so this is what's going to happen. Like, spoiler alert now, because like I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to go down. Because rumor had it that reports were coming out, if the Knicks got the first overall pick, they were going to trade for Anthony Davis.
We have the same theory.
You heard this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, Anthony Davis is still going to get traded to the Knicks for the third pick and like most likely some other assets or another draft pick or something. Anthony Davis is going to go to the Knicks. Pelicans are going to get that third overall pick, and the dynamic duo in Duke is going to go to New Orleans. They're going to take R.J. Barrett with the third pick, and those two are pretty much going to start the revamp in New Orleans. I think the only other possibility, because people are saying, yeah, Anthony Davis could stay. Like, why would you not want to stay and play with Zion? Dude, he's out. Like, he basically sat the entire season.
Yeah.
If you wear a "That's All, Folks" shirt, like leaving your last game of the season, like you're not coming back from that.
Yeah.
So I think he's gone, and pretty much the Pelicans are going to try to get like the best that they can. And the other team, obviously, the Lakers getting the fourth pick.
Yes.
Could he go to LA instead? But
that's what I like.
My differentiator, right?
Right.
The Lakers can offer players. They really can't offer picks and like other assets. They have like that young group of players. The Knicks can offer draft picks. They have the third overall pick as well. They have a lot of other draft picks that they got from the Porzingis trade, like future draft picks in the next year or so. I think the Pelicans are going to go that route. The Lakers obviously already tried offering pretty much their entire staff other than LeBron for AD earlier in the season.
Right.
And they turned a lot of that down, which I thought was crazy for the amount that the Lakers offered the Pelicans. So, I mean, it's pretty clear that I think they're going to decide to go with the draft picks from the Knicks versus the players from the Lakers.
Don't they have one of those picks this year? That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that one of those Mavs picks with that Porzingis trade, I think they have one of them for this season.
For this season and next season, too.
I don't know. I think it might be a late first round.
Yeah.
But the Knicks definitely, I mean, okay. the Pelicans, the trading with the Knicks, that I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, but I like the Lakers a lot more. And the reason why I say this is because this would, if the Lakers were to get Anthony Davis, it would be a win-win situation for a lot of people. It would be, LeBron would be in a better situation just moving forward for the next season, but they don't really have any return besides Anthony Davis, which means they'd have to build with that 4th pick and see what they can do. They would have to really make that. Well, no,
they
wisely.
They don't have the 4th pick. They don't have the 4th pick if they're trading it for AD.
I don't think they'll trade the 4th pick for AD.
You don't? So what's the trade going to be?
Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram.
Kuzma, yeah.
I don't think that would be a bad thing because.
I mean,
dude,
I'll say, depending on how many,
crazy team.
It's just tough because I think the Pelicans in the back of their mind know that the Knicks are going to send an offer for that 3rd pick, so they're going to try to force the Lakers' hands and somehow make the deal include that 4th overall pick.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I think the hard thing with the Knicks is that what do you build around with AD then?
Kevin Durant. I think.
Okay,
I'm still on the KD and Kyrie train, dude. I'm
on it, but I have another theory.
Can you imagine that 3?
I know, but
that's a crazy.
Imagine this.
3.
Imagine this. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Shout out Hunter Nace for this because we had a discussion yesterday about this, and he said this. I was like, all right, maybe. I think that the Celtics may have a shot at getting AD. And the only reason I say that is because, just listen to what I'm saying.
I just don't want it to happen.
I don't want it to happen either, but Terry Rozier apparently wants out. They have all this young talent that they can trade.
Yeah.
And if AD goes to Boston, Kyrie will stay. If they can promise and the Celtics have some picks too. So the Celtics have some picks, they trade, and then you'll have AD, Kyrie, and then KD's definitely coming to that team if they can make that happen 100%. I mean, if KD wants to go to the East, why not do it in Boston? I mean, it's still that kind of bougie lifestyle. I also think about lifestyle when I think about players.
Boston's a sports city. Boston, exactly. When it comes to sports and what franchise, sports franchise, Boston's right up there. I think with New York and LA and that kind of stuff.
Right. So I mean, that's a thought. I don't hate it. I hate that the Knicks didn't get that 1st pick because that just would have been amazing.
That's what every single NBA fan, NBA analyst, everybody wanted the Knicks.
Dude, it was I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, yo, everybody, we were saying it here.
Yeah.
We were like, yo, Knicks have Zion. Everyone, and out of nowhere. That's the thing that was really weird for me. The other thing, dude, what pick did the Suns get?
7 or 8 or something like that. Just completely out of the order. Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
That's why I love it because I've never really been a fan of tanking, and these teams the Suns, Cavs, and the Knicks were all the 3 that had the equal 14% chance.
Right.
Only the Knicks were in that top 4 chance for the number 1 pick. So the other 2 just not tanked for nothing, but you basically tanked for nothing when you think about it. You were tanking for one of those big 3 in this draft.
I mean, ideally, I would love to see that. I would have loved to see the Knicks, and the Knicks didn't tank. That's the thing. I hear you, bro.
They kind of tanked. They kind of tanked.
Chris Porzingis wasn't coming back.
I mean, no. The team was not good. I'm not saying this team could have won games and they tanked.
Dude.
The Knicks
look terrible.
But I mean, at the same time, when you get to a certain point of the season, you realize you're that bad, and you're like, hey, this draft has some solid prospects at the top of it.
I mean, I feel I agree with you a little bit, from a lottery perspective, where it's it ends tanking, but
it's not going to.
More about it,
it's not going to. That's what all the analysts, everybody are saying. It's not going to end tanking, but it's just going to force teams to re-strategize how they're going to do it.
How do you help teams though? That really I think the Knicks would really, really, really deserved getting Zion. He wanted to play there.
And
they didn't tank, dude. The team just looks Knox didn't do anything.
He didn't play well. Porzingis was gone. If you're looking at those 3 teams, those 3 that I mentioned, the Cavs, Suns, and the Knicks,
right.
The Knicks were hugely beyond being the worst team in the league. When you're comparing it to those 2, the Cavs still aren't that good. I mean, they have Colin Sexton, who's pretty good,
what
and
did
you
they
still
end
got.
Last year, do you know? I don't know.
Off the top of my head, no, but I know those 3 they had the same record pretty much. Or I think the Suns might have been a game or 2 better, but the Cavs and the Knicks both ended with just very minimal wins. Did not look good at all. But I think the Cavs, if Kevin Love's healthy, you got Colin Sexton there. The Cavs have a few pieces already The Knicks have none. Like, yeah, if Knox pans out from last year's draft, like, yeah, that's like a pretty good piece. And I mean, other than that, like, you needed Zion to revamp this franchise.
It's the only thing, like, and that's so, like, what do you do now? I would love to. I don't know.
They're banking, dude. If they get out, if they like free agency's over and they get nothing, the Knicks are just completely gone. Like,
what are your
done.
thoughts on people saying Zion should just say screw it and go back to college?
No shot.
Really?
He's not going to do that. I mean, yeah, like the reaction that we showed was funny, and like I'm sure if he had a choice, he's not going to go to New Orleans. Like a choice for like who got the first pick. Like he would choose like the Knicks or something over like obviously like choosing the Knicks or even the Lakers. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to the Lakers with LeBron? But he's going to go to New Orleans, especially if they have a plan in place to try to get RJ on there with him too. Like he's going to love that.
That would be dope.
Yeah,
that would be a good. I would love that. That would be a story, and journalists would love that. The NBA would love that. Like the overall look of what that looks like would be really good. The Pelicans need something.
I was
going to
say
that's
what
happened with AD. I mean, I think I would really like to see the Lakers trade just because you would have Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and you wouldn't have to get rid of Drew Holiday, and that would.
No, that's still, yeah.
That'd be a great team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, both of those scenarios, I think, would be ideal for both sides. Like, that's definitely, like, 2 win-win scenarios.
Right.
But I personally just want to see the Knicks kind of bounce back. Like, I would love, all right,
I think a lot of people
From a fan of the Sixers, a fan of, like, the Sixers being in the East, I don't love it. But, like, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and then potentially Kyrie as well. Like, that team for the Knicks, especially who have had such a struggle the last, like, decade or so, like, that'll just completely just turn that franchise around.
I just have a hard time believing that Kyrie KD thing is going to happen. I don't.
Where do you think? I mean, Kyrie's up in the air, I think. I think if KD doesn't stay with Golden State, which I don't think he will, because I think they're going to choose to pay Clay whatever Clay wants and then pay KD after that, which if that happens, KD's going to be like, screw you guys, I'm out then, if that's the case.
I mean, KD to Brooklyn looks like a possibility.
I'll say Brooklyn. That's the other team I mentioned for Kyrie, but I mean, with D'Lo going off last year, I don't know if Kyrie's going to be like,
no, I don't think that
the
would
spot
be a
for
good
Kyrie,
fit.
but I mean, KD, like, I think the Knicks are definitely the prime spot, but I'm not saying he's sold on it by any means, like he's decided yet, but I think the Knicks are like probably the top team that he's like considering right now.
And here's the other thing. The thing about what is happening right now with the draft and just the lottery and what's coming up with the draft, like, it's going to be really interesting in the offseason just because there's so much talk already about we have a KD decision, we have a Kyrie decision, and now we've got people talking about a potential LeBron trade, which is ridiculous. I had 2 people send me articles this week of just LeBron to Sixers, just with a huge question mark.
That's not going to happen, and I do not want that to happen. For like the Ben Simmons for LeBron, straight up, like, no thanks. LeBron 5 years ago,
okay,
maybe.
Can I be honest though? I wouldn't be that upset if Ben left, and that's me sitting here saying as a Sixers, like, if he that was just not a good playoff run for him.
He just needs a jumper. I know it's not easy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, being an NBA player, getting a good jump shot is easy to develop, especially when you have none.
I feel like I would rather like to see him try than see him just.
Yes, like that's all I'm asking.
Try it. Like,
take
let
this
us
off
know
season.
that you're working on it and not.
Like take this off season and just train. Like, you're an NBA player, not saying like your job is easy by any means, but like, you're an athlete. You have all these months off. You know you need a jump shot, and like that's all you've been ridiculed about.
It's Kendall Jenner's fault.
Yeah. They're broken up, right? Like they're
last
done.
summer, what was he doing?
Exactly. Yeah. I need something. I need some sort of not even like a fully developed shot by the time the season starts, but I need something like just to show that he put in work, that something's being in development.
Right.
Because if not, like, I'm just gonna get frustrated and I'm gonna want him out the door too if that's the case.
I feel like if
it
means Jimmy Butler or Ben Simmons, I say go with Jimmy. And the only reason I say this is because before that last shot hit, before we went out, I was screaming in my apartment, pay Jimmy whatever he wants.
Oh my gosh, playoff Jimmy Butler was ridiculous this year.
So,
and
like,
I haven't been a huge fan of Jimmy like throughout the season.
Neither have I, because I'm
like,
sitting here like, yo, was this really worth it? Was this really worth it?
But
come time,
ridiculous. Like, he was being fourth quarter Jimmy that he usually was in the season, but it was the entire game, the entire playoffs. He was. I don't think
having a real point guard will be bad either. Like a real solid point guard and
that can shoot the basketball.
If we get rid of Ben, I would get rid of Ben this year, trade for shooters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. You know who I like in free agency that I talked about a few weeks ago? Kemba Walker.
So do I, but I just don't see him going to Philly, dude.
That's
a hard call.
That's a huge if Ben even gets traded regardless. But like if Ben gets traded and we need a legit like point guard, like why not bring in Kemba, who's a very established shooter and is like a legitimate point guard. And like I'm not gonna say superstar status, but like he's like you have like 1 and then 1A. Like I think he's like a 1A type
so
of talent.
So trade Ben Simmons for a real power forward and a shooter, and then that'd be so hard.
I don't know, because
it depends on how much cap space we have. Because Kemba's gonna want a big deal.
I don't want Tobias. Like I think
really?
I think a team's gonna overpay for Tobias, and I don't want to see Philly overpay for Tobias because I don't think he'd be worth like a max deal or anything like that. I think you have to pay
I don't
Jimmy.
think we'll give him a max deal, but I think he'll stay.
Like if he wants to stay and like not take a max, I think that's fine. But I think he might go where the money is, and if a team wants to overpay and give him a max, I think he's probably gonna take that. And I don't want to see Philly like compete with that and say, oh shoot, like now we have to give him a max if we want to keep him. Like I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my take. I mean, a lot of what ifs with like the NBA coming up, but a lot of crazy stuff. And I want to see one of those 2 trades happen with Zion.
Yeah.
Quick here to wrap everything up. NBA playoffs right now. Warriors are up 3-0. Bucks are up 2-0. What are your picks on the NBA Finals?
Ooh, if I can do it quickly, Bucks are up 2-0. I see Toronto winning maybe 1 game, but they don't look good at all.
No, it's all Kawhi.
It's all Kawhi. Yeah, and that makes me feel even worse as a Sixers fan because it's like
we couldn't beat that team.
We could have stomped the Bucks. That would have been a good series.
We definitely would have
won that
competed,
game. That would have been a 7-game series.
Yeah,
I would have liked to see. Golden State. I had this thought in my head that I would love for the next game is in Portland, right?
Yeah.
So I would love for Portland to win, and then have a whole entire recap of them going down 3-1.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love it because, like, I like Portland a lot. They're a fun team to watch, and I didn't really watch them throughout the season, but as they've been playing in the playoffs, the fact that they've gotten this far, especially with that injury that they had early on in the year.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Whoa.
They've been up by double digits in every game. In all 3 games in this Warriors series. They were up by 18 at one point.
Yeah,
they were late in the first half yesterday.
The game yesterday.
So it's not that like they're like everybody's kind of making it out like, oh, Warriors are up 3-1, like completely dominating. Like they've been having to come back in most of these games. Like the Blazers are playing them tough, and
they're playing them tough, but it's like it's kind of like I don't know what is the KD injury. I was kind of oblivious to that.
They were trying to just create headlines. Like KD's not coming back in this series. This game could go to 7, and like the Blazers could win 3.
Wait, but what's the injury?
I have to look. It's some like just. I'm gonna look it up right now, real quick. It's just some like really weird. Like I've never even really like heard of like at least in the NBA like an injury like that.
Is he coming back for the series? Is he coming back for the whole play? Like is he out for the whole playoffs? For the rest of the playoffs at least. But I mean, that's a question I want to know because they look like.
I definitely think he'll be back for the finals. I think he'll find a way, and like they'll find a way for him to come back for the finals.
I just think that I don't know, if you should know if you're a Curry like in this situation, right? You should know like whether or not.
Oh, do you see all the stats? ESPN's eating this up. How like when Steph plays and KD doesn't play, like how good the Warriors.
No, but I'm talking about like as like the Curry brothers going up against each other. Like you guys should at least like. They should be playing better defense on Steph because he's taking over games right now. With KD off the court, Steph is just like, all right, I'm just going to do what I used to do, which is a little unsettling, seeing as though, KD might leave and the Warriors are still probably going to be intact. Yeah. Like, if you look at it, if KD leaves, they have a lot of money to play with. Yeah. KD and Boogie gone.
I don't know, dude. Like that's going to be a very new. It's going to be a new but not really new Warriors team if you think about it. Like a lot of those like original pieces are still going to be there, so it's going to be interesting.
I have Warriors in 5. I have a gentleman's sweep
against the Bucks.
No, for this. Series
this series, okay.
And then I think that. If Toronto turns it up, this could be I don't want to say a 7-game series, but
it'll be. I don't know. It's a one-man show.
Could be a 6-game series,
maybe. I mean, they're in Toronto for 2 now, so I mean, things can always turn around now that Toronto's at home for 2. Right. So who knows? But the KD injury, I don't know what I was thinking. Right calf strain. So, I mean, obviously, like, a strain can still be serious. They're making it out like it's a little more serious than what they originally thought
LeBron
with
was
the
out for
strain.
basically half the season because of
So
what was
yeah.
that? What happened to him?
Was his, like, a groin? Like, a groin?
Dude,
I
don't know. But those.
All right, guys, sorry about that. We just had a few technical difficulties, but we're back up and running now. So, yeah, just a quick announcement to kind of end the show. We announced on our social media pages a little earlier this past week, but HCC is a new podcast network that our very own James Duncan here actually started in the Lancaster area. So, man, I'll let you take it over, dude. What's going on with the HCC TV stuff, dude?
Yeah, definitely. So, first of all, sorry about the technical difficulties. We're trying to get all this together. Yeah, so a little bit ago, we had I had a conversation with just everybody that I've been working with, different podcasts with, and I wanted to kind of build an umbrella to just house everything underneath. I love doing this. I love making podcasts. If you ever get a chance, you can follow me at JDunk30, and you can check out all of my shows. But I've been doing this for a while, and just I don't know. I came up with the idea. I got you guys on board. I'm doing this with my friends. I love it. It's great, and that's really all that matters. I love creating. I love helping other people create, and that's what HCC stands for. It's helping creators create, and that's what we're here to do. So we have shows every night of the week except for Mondays right now. So that's going to be this one will air Tuesdays at 8, and then we have four other shows that are going to be coming on as well. So make sure you tune into those. If you want to check out everything for HCC, you can head to www.thehccnetwork.com. That's where you can find everything. You can find Heated Sports page. You can find all the other shows that are up there. And yeah, make sure you guys tune in Tuesdays at 8 for Heated Sports. This is the way to be. This is the place to be.
Yeah, I'll say we got new time slots for everything, and yeah, going forward, I mean, a lot of like variety of content coming your way through the HCC network. So a lot of the links for the websites and all the the social media accounts for everything will be in the description there. So feel free to check that out, guys, and we'll be right here Tuesday next week, 8 p.m. So tune in and have a good week, guys.